So people ask me, and I had one of my subscribers ask me, Mr. Global, can you do a video on how to get oil wells for free? So if you don't know, my name is Mr. Global. I am a globally recognized expert in the oil and gas industry, as well as a partner and vice president of an oil company based in Houston, Texas. One line of business that we have is that we acquire oil wells for free. We do this for two reasons: to either plug and salvage the equipment on the well site, or to return the wells to production. Now, if you want to get oil wells for free, you're going to need a company, you're going to need insurance, you're going to need to be bonded. In Texas, you need what's called a P5. In Oklahoma, you need a surety bond. These bonds are blanketed, and you can put a number of wells on them, so it's not a separate bond for each individual well. Now, why do we want to get wells for free? Well, obviously, because they're free. You have to think about the oil and gas industry in the aspect of it is run by billion-dollar companies. And small companies like mine, we come behind them and pick up all the breadcrumbs that they leave. And they leave a lot of breadcrumbs. Yes, they do. So oil companies have wells all over the country that are very low producing or do not produce anymore. And you can make a lot of money on these wells, and they will give them to you for free. Giving away or assigning a well for them relieves them of the liability of plugging and abandoning that well. So you can find wells all over the country in different databases you can find on the internet. Well data is one good resource, but you can also find these wells on the state's regulatory commission's website. So in Texas, that would be the Texas Railroad Commission. In Oklahoma, that would be the Oklahoma Corporation Commission. You can find these wells. If you're looking for a well to plug and salvage, the idea is you get a company to give you a well that is a non-producer, that doesn't produce anymore. And if there is enough stuff there to salvage, you can actually make a lot of money just getting this well for free and then plugging it. So once you have your company in place, and once you have your bonds in place, you can literally drive out to the locations. You can find these wells online, on maps. You can find the latitude and longitude of these wells on state websites and databases. Go find the well and see what's there. Is there a pump jack there? Are there production tanks there? Are there heater treater, a separator? How much equipment is on the site? Is there tubing in the well? Is there rods in the well? There's obviously casing in the well. So if you can get the oil company, and all you have to do is call them and ask to assign you the well, then you can pay a company to go out and plug the well at a cost of $30,000 to $40,000. And then what you do is you take all the stuff left over at the well site and you sell it for salvage, or you keep it to use on your other wells. So for instance, let's say you spend $35,000 to plug a well that an oil company has given you. You have a pump jack sitting there, say that's worth $30,000. You have production tanks that are worth $10,000 a piece. You have the tubulars that could be worth $10,000 or $15,000. You have the casing that could be worth $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. So what we look for are wells that have at least $100,000 worth of salvageable material on them, and then we go plug those wells, for $30,000, $35,000. We keep the stuff we want, we sell the stuff we don't. If you just sold everything, you could easily make $50,000 or $60,000 per well on a well that was given to you for free. Companies will gladly give you these wells and assign them over to you to relieve them of the liability of plugging them. These companies have thousands of wells across the country, and they are liable for the plugging of every one of those wells. So they are often very happy to give you this well if you will take that liability. Another thing we do with wells that oil companies give us is we have a team of geologists that can look at the geological maps of these wells, look at the overall field production, and see if the well is a candidate for recompletion. And if the well is a candidate for recompletion, you can actually go back in and get this well producing oil and gas again. And we do that with quite a few of the wells that have been given to us. So to recap, you need an oil company, which that's not that hard, right? You go file an LLC, You get your LLC set up, you get your bond set up. Like I said, in Texas, that's a P5. You need a P5. In Oklahoma, I believe it's a Form 1006. And once you have that, you can just get online and just do research for hours looking for wells. We look at some wells just using Google Earth to see what's on them, but most of the time we physically drive out to the locations and see what's there, because most of these wells are going to be candidates for plug and salvage. And if there's not a lot of salvageable material there for you to make money on, then you don't want the well. In addition, if you have a really good geologist to partner with, they can look at the geology maps of these wells. They can see if there's potential to bring these wells back online and get them producing again. We have gotten wells for free that we have turned back to production that make very good production, that we have very little money invested in. And this is one of the strategies we are using in building our oil company. There is a lot more to this than what I just stated, but my subscriber wanted to know how to get these wells for free. You literally find them online, and you just pick up the phone and you call the oil company and you ask for someone. You ask to speak to someone in the land department or someone who can assign you a well. And 9 times out of 10, they will gladly just hand you that well,